All right, now, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Now, if you've been following, the other night during her campaign rally, Vice President Kamala Harris mentioned that she supports no tax on tips. You know, our service workers, when we go out to restaurants or when we're at hotels and things like that, and you tip them, yeah, I guess at some point they had to pay taxes on the tips that they made, which is crazy to me. Crazy. Anywho, so back to the story. So Kamala Harris mentioned that during one of her rallies the other night. Now, what's going on is that during one of his rallies, Donald Trump also mentioned that he would support no taxes on tips, right? And so, you know, there's a reason why we call him the toddler in chief. So now that Kamala Harris has also mentioned that she supports no tax on tips, now Donald Trump is saying this. Why? She's stealing my no tax on tips promise. Why? Well, y'all know I'm here to break this down. I'm here to break it down because you know he doesn't have an original thought in his mind. You know that he has not brought forth any policies. And the policies that he has brought forth, they are derived from Project 2025. You know whose policy this is? This is former President Barack Obama's policy. Obama. That was Obama's policy, along with some other measures that he took in order to provide some relief to the lower and middle class of America when it comes to taxes. And then you know how Rachel Maddow says, don't pay attention to what they say, pay attention to what they do. Yeah, first of all, it's not Trump's policy. It was Obama's policy who put that in place. But when Donald Trump got into office, Donald Trump's administration tried to overturn the rule, the protection. You can read a lot about it in this article, but Trump's administration said that they had surveyed all of these different bosses to come up with the reason why they were going to overturn that tax rule. Come to find out, they talked to nobody. Nobody was asking for it. However, if he would have done that, it would have provided the already rich people, the millionaires, another $5.8 billion. They were going to be able to take the tips from servers. He was going to take the tips from servers and give it to the people who own the company. And if you're like me and you're wondering, why did this little mention all of a sudden come up? Well, it's because of this. Now, this article says Ted Cruz introduces a No Tax on Tips Act. But no, he's not introducing it. He's reintroducing it. And why is Ted Cruz bringing this up? Because Ted Cruz is losing in his own election. So he needed something to try to win over the taxpayers in his district. I must make mention that the Trump administration tried to overturn that rule. However, the pushback was too great. I'm telling you, I didn't know anything about it. So I don't know who was doing the pushback, but I'm glad they were, because the Trump administration backed up off it. Joe Biden didn't overturn it when he got back into office, so it's still a part of the tax rules. So what is Ted Cruz reintroducing? Pay attention. So to break it down, Kamala Harris mentioned no tax on tips, right? She said she is in support of that policy. Donald Trump came back, wah, she's stealing my idea, she's stealing my policy. It wasn't his idea, it wasn't his policy. It was a tax rule that President Obama implemented. And it came back up again because Ted Cruz is trying to win over voters in his district by saying that he's introducing no tax on tips. Okay, are we clear? All right, I'll see y'all later.